Greetings, Cyclopeans. Welcome to the Sci Clops podcast number 5. My name is Dan.
And I'm still Tom.
And today's episode is brought to you by H.P. Lovecraft's The Alchemist short story. We'll have the link to that online. And without further ado, we're going to go straight into some games for the week.
Well, I finally got around to buying Gears of War 4. It's installing up in my Xbox right now. I haven't played it yet. But interesting thing is I didn't know this because it's weird. I would have thought they would have advertised something this big with it. When you buy Gears of War 4, it comes with a digital copy for Gears 1, 2, 3, and Judgment.
Whoa.
So you get the entire series for the price of a single game.
The price of a single game.
And I just sat there. Maybe they did, and I just didn't hear about it. I'm like, why were they not shouting that from the rooftops? Pay $60 and you get 4 $60 games for the price of one.
I also was looking at this, and I don't remember seeing anything about it, but we could both be wrong. But I think...
maybe because, they're backwards compatible, so it's not like they're HD upgrades. You literally play them in their original format like they looked on the Xbox 360.
Still four games.
It's 4 games that were... sure, they may have aged a little, but not enough to look awful.
No.
And I picked it up, and I looked at the box, and I just said to myself, holy crap, that's incredible.
What a deal.
Yeah.
And how could you pass up a deal?
Oh, yeah, I couldn't. I immediately, I was going to buy it anyway, but this is just fantastic.
Absolutely.
So I will definitely put up some of my thoughts once I get it fully installed and play it a little bit, but I'm very excited.
He's going to be spending the whole entire week playing this game, so that's the last I'll see of him until this game. And if you folks out there have any comments on this game, if anybody else is picking it up, put it in the comments. Feel free to let us know what you think of the game, or if you like any of the previous versions or anything like that too. Is that it for the games for the moment?
That's all I got for right now. Video games.
What do you got for? You've got a whole mess of comics over there.
Well, no, I only have my one comic I'm going to be talking about.
I was looking at the list.
The one I read right for this show was the new Mark Millar, Greg Capullo comic, Reborn.
Okay.
And both these guys have a laundry list of fantastic hits and titles. And Mark Millar I love from his run on Old Man Logan, which will forever endear him to me. This, though, is with Image Comics, which is cool because Image is all creator-owned, so these guys really are kind of off the leash, and they don't have to worry about interfering with any other storylines or anything like that. The basic premise is, when you die... It's not like, lights off and you go to heaven, you go to hell. You die and you wake up in this crazy fantasy J.R.R. Tolkien mixed with, steampunk.
Oh,
awesome world. And it's about this old lady she's lived through the death of her father, her husband, and, she's terrified of dying. And she finally does pass at the end of the issue, and then she just wakes up in this crazy alternate reality, and it's only one issue in, and I'm already hooked and can't wait for anything or for the next issue to come out. The writing is very well done. Mark Millar's writing this one. Greg Capullo's doing the art, and the artwork is absolutely fantastically gorgeous. Let me actually have a page here. Oh, you guys can't see it, but
we'll put it up on.
I'll throw
an image up on the.
Look at that.
Yeah, we're looking at some of the images right now. And we'll at least put the cover up, if nothing else. And we've covered Capullo and Millar before.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because Mark Millar did a lot of Wolverine stuff that I covered. And but I cannot wait for this series.
Did they do Aquaman? Was that what we were covering before?
I don't think.
No, I apologize.
No, that's.
I had that backwards.
Mark Millar's latest stuff, I think, was pretty much Marvel.
Okay, yeah. At any rate, the art is incredible. If you folks are out looking for a comic right now, look at this.
Even the cover is
it's a beautiful cover. Wow, creepy.
Yeah.
And we'll have it. Hopefully, we'll have the cover up on and a few more pictures if we can get them up there. But we'll have something up for you to see with this podcast. What else? Are you reading anything else right now? Or?
I'm reading a whole bunch of stuff, but that's the only one I'm going to do my weekly comic reviews this weekend. But that's the only one that jumped out at me as that I should really talk about this week.
Can I throw a comic out there really quick? I'm gonna
go for it.
Move something here. There's we have this on the site as well. We support the Living Corpse Relics Kickstarter. It's a Living Corpse Relics Kickstarter, and what it is, a little Kickstarter with some really nice graphics. It's if you, again, like I said this on the site too. If you got a couple bucks to spare, throw it at these guys. They might be beyond their initial Kickstarter now and up to the special levels. I can't think what they're called.
Stretch goals.
Stretch goals. Thank you. And Living Corpse Relics picks up after the events of Living Corpse, Exhumed. Our undead hero has left his job as the gatekeeper between the world of the living and the monsters that live in the shadows. Now living in a monastery in Tibet, the Living Corpse is called back into action when an ancient evil with ties to the Living Corpse's past rises from the tombs of ancient Egypt. There's Egypt again. Who doesn't love Egypt in a comic?
When it
comes to monsters, science fiction, or anything, fantasy or anything, it's always Stargate, or anything to Egypt. But it's pretty cool. And on the site, if you do a search for Living Corpse, use the upper right-hand corner. There's a little magnifying glass up there. You can put in a search, and we've got a video and some really nice images you can look at. Some of the illustrations are fantastic. And I'm just going to move something here. You might hear some of the illustrations are really nice. And the writers or illustrators are Ken Hazer, Blair Smith, and Buzz Hassan. I hope I said those last names right. But three guys, we got a picture of them on the site too. So I'm kind of pushing that right now. It's pretty cool. It looks like a lot of fun. And that's it for me for comics. Are you looking at any other books or anything like that? Or
I'm kind of waiting for that big Justice League versus Suicide Squad in December when that finally comes out.
All right.
But that's about it for me right now.
Cool. Just jumping really quick into books. I am almost done with Star Wars Aftermath. It's a big, thick novel by Chuck Wendig, Wendig. Trapped on an isolated world, a disparate group of rebels is all that stands between the galaxy's freedom and the Empire's fury. Taking place right after Empire Strikes Back, or Return of the Jedi. Apologies, I always get those two backwards. Return of the Jedi. It's pretty cool, high action, lots of adventure. Every chapter is really good. I really like it so far. It's just been amazing. Lots and lots of characters in here. Lots of storylines going on, but a lot of action.
Well, it's a ripe area too, because I mean, there's that 30-year gap between, the Empire's defeat, quotation marks, and the rise of the First Order.
Yeah, and the Empire's down, but not out. Not by any means at this point.
That's the funny thing. I remember even thinking that after I saw Return of the Jedi for the first time. I'm like, okay, I mean, the Emperor is dead, but there's like a jillion Star Destroyers and, still out there, so.
I remember thinking that, okay, you blew up the Death Star, but you didn't destroy a single Star Destroyer except the one Super Star Destroyer, which is Vader's flagship, the Executor. But all the others were still sitting out there, and who knows what else was out there. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they didn't pull everything out of the galaxy for that fight. So great storyline. There's a lot of fighting back and forth. The planets are starting to join in on sides again, and great fighting. What do you got next?
Well, my big thing is I caught up on the first 2 episodes of Flash for season 3, and I have very much, even though we're only 2 episodes in, I dig where they're going with it. Anyone who's a fan of the comics knows the Flashpoint Paradox was a novel where Barry goes back to stop his mother's murder, and when he does, he creates this whole mess of an alternate reality that he doesn't know what's going on. And obviously, because there's certain characters like Batman and Superman that they can't use on Flash and Arrow, that it's not quite as grand in scale as the Flashpoint Paradox comic was, but they've created a big enough world on Flash and Arrow and all these other shows that it feels like, even though Barry is only changing like 3 shows, it feels like a big ripple effect change is going out.
Yeah.
And it even dovetailed a little bit into Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow, altering the timeline. And it was really cool seeing Barry try to, realizing how big a mistake he's made, and has to go back and at least try to set right what he messed up. And it's cool because I was really worried that season 3 was going to turn into just there was going to be another evil speedster for Barry to fight, like Zoom or Reverse Flash. And it's visually very cool to watch Barry fight another guy with his super speed. But it gets to a point where you're like, come on, there's got to be villains besides, just another evil version of Barry who runs super fast. Yeah. And it looks like we're getting that. Dr. Alchemy looks like he's going to be one of the big villains this season, and he is definitely not a speedster. And it's very cool to watch these characters who have changed fundamentally, like Cisco and Caitlin and Joe and all these guys. And Barry doesn't know why, because he shows back up after he changes everything, and his memories are of the past timeline. Right. But everybody else has spent months and months with some massive changes in their life, and Barry's trying to adjust and figure out what he did. And I'm very into Flash season 3 so far, so I'll be definitely keeping up with that. And the only new addition to the cast of The Flash is Harry Potter's Draco Malfoy, Tom Felton, is joining the cast, playing Julian something or other. He's another forensic CSI at the police department. And he and Barry do not get along very well. And I really hope, because if he's a fairly well-known actor, and he's a main cast member for the season, so it's not like he's only going to be in a few episodes here and there. I really hope they just don't do the big reveal, like the classic thing of, oh, the famous guest star is really the villain all along.
All along.
So I mean, we're only 2 episodes in, and I really hope they're not leaning that way, but we'll see. But I'm really digging it so far.
The Flash is hot. I'm behind you. I still got a few episodes to go, but what a great show. And the crossovers are starting to get really interesting too, with Flash and Arrow and the
Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl now, yeah.
It's like they were taking like baby steps with this, and they're starting to expand more and more. So it's really cool to see how they're gonna interchange with everybody here and all these superheroes. And I can't wait to see who else they bring into this thing. And again, if you're watching The Flash and you want to do a drinking game, anytime this group is eating dinner out, you take a drink every time somebody
you would have already been a little drunk already, even only 2 episodes into season 3.
Did they have another one?
At least 2 or 3.
Stormed out of the dinner. I can't take it anymore. Or when are you okay? Take a drink.
Yeah.
And then you
oh God, yeah. You're hammered.
You won't make it to the end of the show.
On a similar note, I started Arrow season 5. I said if the season 5 premiere didn't do anything for me, I was gone. It was okay. It was good enough to let me trudge into season 5 a little more. It definitely was getting back to its roots. There wasn't like these, he's not fighting 18 special forces guys at once, and they're all missing him.
Shooting like stormtroopers.
It's very much back to that street level. He's fighting thugs on the street.
Cool.
And it felt very like season 1 and 2 of Arrow, in that the action got a lot more violent and brutal. And he's killing guys again.
Good.
So he's gotten back to he's slipping kind of back into his season 1 self.
Yeah.
Where he was just
nasty.
I know what's best for the people.
Yep.
I'm gonna do it my way. Get out of my way if you don't like it. Yeah. And I like that, because season 3 and 4, where he's going above and beyond to not kill anybody, it's like, I get the idea. You don't want to become a trigger happy psycho, but there's sometimes you just put an arrow in the guy's head. Come on. Yep. And so I haven't watched season 2 or episode 2 of it yet, but I'll get around to it. But I mean, hopefully it's a sign of a change, that it's kind of swinging back to its.
He's back to Lethal Weapon Arrow.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
bringing down the law, awesome. And trying to think, I'm on really quick. I'm on Clone Wars season 4. If you've been following us, and I've been slowly plodding along through Clone Wars, which I love. And 4 had started out. We said last podcast. It started out good, and then took a little dip with the C-3PO R2-D2 episodes, which I didn't think were that great, and kind of like they were like looking for, like they needed more time to come up with something, and they did, and that's the nice part. It's getting really good now. They're going into a lot of areas that are really odd, and we're back to Cad Bane again, who's broken out for about the 10th time, broken out of prison. He keeps getting out. They keep going after him. It's a lot of fun. And he even mentions, he goes, I've broken out of this place before. And out he goes, and they're chasing him all over the galaxy. But I like Cad Bane. It's one of those characters I really wish they had done a little more with. I don't know what's going to happen. Don't tell me. I
honestly can't remember.
But he's fun. There's some great characters in here. And so I'm looking forward to wrapping this up.
Clone Wars had its fault, but it definitely was really cool for just this expanding cast of interesting characters that were.
I highly recommend it. I think if you're a Star Wars fan and you have not watched Clone Wars, don't look at it as some cheesy kids cartoon thing. It's really got some good stuff in it.
There's some heavy drama episodes in there that are really good.
Yeah, some real nastiness goes on in this thing. And some parts are really creepy, and the fights are great. They get really good space battles and fights.
Just wait till you finish it and you get to Rebels, because Rebels ups
I can't wait.
Ups the ante on everything.
And Rebels is and Ahsoka Tano is just getting better and better in here. She really was a great character, and that's what makes Clone Wars good. It's not just a bunch of cartoon people that every week they just come and go. It's the characters are really starting to develop, and they're really. And
it's cool because some of the Jedi they'll come in and out because they're on missions and stuff. But like Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon, and all these other Jedi that you only see for a heartbeat. A cup of coffee in the prequel trilogy, they really get some breathing room and time to expand their characters. And
you couldn't put them in the prequels for more than a few moments.
Yeah, because it's Anakin and Obi-Wan stories. Yeah.
I mean, they drowned him in bad guys in the prequels, but you don't want to drown him too much. But in this, you have plenty of time to do it, so there's a lot of character development. So highly recommend it. Go take a look at it. What are we into next here?
Oh man, I got a whole slew of stuff.
That's the list I was looking at. I'll
go through first. I'll rattle off the Marvel Netflix stuff because that's a lot of stuff. It's been announced that Sigourney Weaver is going to play the villain in the Defenders.
Oh yeah, that's
and that just right away. I don't even care who she's playing.
Yep.
I just am so psyched that she's going to be in it because Marvel again knocks it out of the park with their casting.
Yep.
Like I said, I don't know anything they're going to do with the Defenders except they're all going to team up and Sigourney Weaver's going to be the bad guy, and I cannot wait for this.
What if the villain's named Sigourney Weaver? Doesn't even matter.
I'd watch Sigourney Weaver
who's
be
the
bad
villain?
guy.
It's Sigourney Weaver. The end.
So that was a pretty big thing for Defenders. They haven't announced who she's playing yet.
Awesome.
But I'm still very excited. And then Iron Fist got its first trailer and some footage revealed from it. And I, as into every other show like Daredevil and Luke Cage as I am right now, I think Iron Fist is going to be my favorite.
Iron Fist is going to be hot.
Iron Fist. So big. I love the most recent comic run on it.
Yep.
That's when I got into the character and I loved it. And I'm starting to go back and read like the Immortal Iron Fist and stuff.
Right.
And it's the trailer looks like they nailed it. It's going to be a little bit Batman-y, and then he's coming back for vengeance. But he's got this whole other aspect to it, and the action looks incredible. And they really nailed it. Like when he channels the powers into his fist, he gets like the glowing. You can see the outline of his bones in it, and it looks like it's going to be fantastic.
You know what they got to do now is an Iron Fist and One Punch Man.
No, what they got to do,
Combo.
they got to do next after Defenders is they got to do Luke Cage and Iron Fist as a show together.
Yeah.
Because they're such a duo in the comics, they got to do it in
That's what I was
Netflix.
wondering. I was wondering when they were going to do that, because they decided to develop them separately.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You
Yeah.
give them each their own intro show,
Yeah.
and then after that we can get them
And then
together
the movie
and
will be
team up.
huge.
And
Yeah. Can you imagine that movie?
And the other one for Netflix is the Punisher spin-off with John Bernthal has begun production. They have officially started filming and getting ready. They had a couple photos of John Bernthal with a big shaggy beard, and he's getting ready. And I cannot wait. I think there's been a little bit of concern on how can you do a whole show on the Punisher, because he kills everybody. But the Punisher, if you go into it, does actually have a rogues gallery of guys who keep getting away. Jigsaw, Barracuda, the Russian. It's not like he just caps everybody and it's over. I think there's a lot, and there's a lot of especially the way they set him up in Daredevil. There's a lot of like digging you can do into the trauma of watching his family murdered in front of his eyes and trying to figure it out, because there's still some lingering threads as to why exactly this happened to Frank. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen Daredevil Season 2, but it's not just a case of, his family was in the wrong place at the wrong time. There actually was a little bit of stuff going on there that they hint at during Season 2 of Daredevil, and I can't wait. It's just like an embarrassment of riches how much Netflix is cranking out with these Marvel shows.
Do you highly recommend Daredevil Season 2?
Oh, I recommend every Marvel Netflix show. Daredevil Season 2, I didn't think they could top Season 1, and they did. I think Season 2 is even better.
Let us know if you folks out there are watching any of this stuff. Let us know in the comments if anyone particular that you really like a lot. We're liking them all. Netflix, of course, it's amazing to watch. They're just hitting it out of the park over and over and over again. My gosh, I love it. What's Netflix going to do next?
Yeah. So. I can't wait. This, I think, is going to be a fun couple of years for TV.
Oh, it's getting better and better. Yeah. Amazon's on, Hulu's going crazy. It's just wow. And we mentioned this before, but it's so cool because all these guys are jumping on board and there's so much new stuff.
It's big actors too. It's not like there's these like Sigourney Weaver is like in a Marvel thing. It's like what?
And that tells you how good it's gotten, because the big actors now are like, hey, wait a minute, we can go over to Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and these places.
Anthony Hopkins is Odin.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. He doesn't even tear anyone's heart out, need it or anything.
Well, yet.
Yeah, he will.
Oh, it's hilarious because Mads Mikkelsen is playing the villain in Doctor Strange.
Yep.
And it's like now it wouldn't make any sense, but I really want him and Anthony Hopkins to be on the same screen at the same time, so we can have the two Hannibal Lecters.
The two Hannibal Lecters at the same time.
Yeah.
What do you got next?
The other Marvel news, not in terms of Netflix, but in terms of just their properties, is the Legion show, which is going to be on FX, which is Professor X's son, who has multiple personality disorder, and he's completely bonkers. And every personality has a different superpower, and they're all crazy high level stuff. So he's actually one of the most dangerous mutants ever, because he's so unstable, and like, you can't prepare for him because okay, personality A is a telekinetic, personality B shoots fire, personality C can walk through walls. You know, he can do all this crazy crap, and you have no idea what he's going to do. And I was a little worried, like, they were just kind of making this moody guy who has powers. But no, they're really going full on. He's bonkers out of his mind, and even he doesn't know why. And the trailer I watched for the show looked like it really has the appropriate tone. It's going to be really cool. It's got a great cast, and they recently dropped some pretty big news that they said Professor X might actually show up on the show because Legion is his son.
Yeah.
But that raises a huge question. Is it going to be Patrick Stewart? Is it going to be James McAvoy? I highly doubt it'll be either of them. Are they going to recast him?
Yeah. Because
Patrick Stewart has said that the new Logan movie that's coming out is probably going to be his last run as Professor X. Too. And I would... It would be really odd to see them recast Professor X this late in the game. But I think you kind of have to. I don't think you can lure Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy. But James McAvoy would look too young anyway. Patrick Stewart to TV for FX, but
yeah, that's a good question. I wonder what they will do with that because Professor X is really Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy. You're kind of thinking, where are we going to go with this now? They've got to bring him in there. They've got to. Well,
that's the thing. They don't have to bring him in right away.
You'd like to see him.
I definitely think at some point Professor X will have to be in there, but not right away.
Right.
But you can get away with him being hinted at in the first season, but never really appearing on screen. But it does beg an interesting question of who would they get to do Professor X? Because it's not like Patrick Stewart is against TV. He's got his own TV show on Starz right now. But I just don't think he'd want to do that again. He's been Professor X he's been Professor X as long as Wolverine has. You know. He did X-Men 1, 2, 3. He had that cameo in Origins Wolverine. He was in Days of Future Past. So he's not as many as Hugh Jackman, but Patrick Stewart's done a bunch of X-Men, and he did him in a bunch of video games. He voiced Professor X too.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to Legion when that finally drops. I think that'll be really cool.
What do you guys think out there too? Let us know if you think he should come back into the TV, or if you think maybe they should try something else completely.
And who should play Professor X if they do recast him?
Who should play Professor X? That's a great question.
Yeah.
And not One Punch Man.
Not One Punch Man.
Got the nice bald head too.
We're not wearing capes.
Not wearing capes. What do you got there?
Movie news, I guess.
Movie news.
Speaking of the Logan movie.
Yep.
Logan, they finally, even though pretty much everybody knew, so minor spoiler alert. Skip ahead 10 seconds.
Yep, here we go.
Mr. Sinister has been confirmed as the Wolverine 3 villain, which I think at this point we all kind of knew. Yeah. But it's still cool to have it confirmed. I remember being in the theaters with Kelly, of all people, and at the end of X-Men Apocalypse, there's a whole scene where Wolverine busts out of Weapon X and kills a whole bunch of guards and escapes. And at the end of the movie, the post-credits thing is these two guys in suits show up to the base, and there's like cleaners getting rid of all the bodies and like scrubbing all the evidence, and they go to the cell that Wolverine was held in, and there's blood samples, and they say Weapon X on the tubes, and they pick up one of the tubes and put it in a briefcase, and when they close the briefcase, it says Essex Corp. And Mr. Sinister's human name is Nathaniel Essex.
Yep.
So me and Kelly are like, Mr. Sinister!
Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And because anybody who's read the comics know Mr. Sinister and Wolverine have a very long... He's been alive as long as Wolverine has. Yep. And so they have a pretty big history together. And he thinks Wolverine is like in one of the top like genetic specimens for mutants of all time.
Too cool.
And so some of the hinted storylines they might go with, like X-23, Wolverine's female clone, make a lot more sense now that Mr. Sinister has been officially confirmed. And I'm very excited for that.
I could see them bringing a female clone into here because that's the hot trend right now.
Well, it would make sense, too, because right now Wolverine in the Marvel Comics is dead, and X-23 is the new Wolverine. Yep. And Tom Taylor's writing it. It's a fantastic series.
Yeah.
And
you like to see the women come in now.
It's nice to get... It's nice to see a lot of... Now we have a lot more diversity in terms of just the heroes. A
lot of new doors open.
Yeah, it really is hilarious because I was talking to a guy who's like, I really don't know why they made Deadshot black in Suicide Squad. I'm like, well, look at it. Other than Katana, who's Asian, it was just a bunch of white guys.
Yeah, a bunch of white guys.
You know?
it is, and I'm glad to see that it seems to be they're kind of getting dragged into this a little bit, kicking and screaming. But there's some great characters, some great women characters.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of them,
great, Black, Asian, and other characters.
It's nice that not in addition to because there's a lot of older characters that are Black, Asian, Hispanic, Native American, and they're these little known characters. And now it's now that it's comics are kind of becoming prevalent again, we're finally getting a breath of okay, let's get these guys back, dust off the cobwebs. And
bring and there's a lot of great ideas you can do with that.
Oh yeah,
tons and tons of new doors you can open up with all this new stuff. So it's happening. That's the cool part. It's happening. We're seeing them all come up.
And the last bit of big movie news I got is the Justice League movie. We finally saw Amber Heard in her costume as Mira, the wife of Aquaman, and the costume looks fantastic.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's a little bit of a tweak on her current or some of her past comic costumes. Looks fantastic.
Yes.
I really dig what they're done with the Atlantean stuff so far. And Willem Dafoe is in the movie as Aquaman's advisor.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, okay, Amber Heard, clearly they went through a very extensive costume for her. It's not like she's just in, a green dress or something, And Willem Dafoe's in it as the Atlantean advisor. So it actually looks like we might get a pretty decent amount of screen time for, Atlantis and what goes on down there.
And it looks like they're taking their time. Because if I remember correctly, this movie was kind of getting handed around a little bit way back in the beginning.
Well, yeah, because originally Zack Snyder it was his whole deal.
Yeah.
And then the backlash between, Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel and all this stuff. And I think they kind of realized that they needed a Kevin Feige who's the head architect of Marvel Studios. And they needed that for the DC universe, but they couldn't use Zack Snyder because as good Zack Snyder's done some good stuff, but he's not really a comic guy. Mm-hmm. They needed a DC version of Kevin Feige, and that's where Jeff Johns came in. And Jeff Johns is stepping in, and he's kind of helping them guide it the way that it would be a little bit more faithful to its source material, but still be appealing as a movie. And everything I've seen from Justice League so far looks like it's going to be a home run out of the park.
This looks like it's going to be a good movie. I think this Aquaman's
a little bummed that Cyborg's costume is all CGI, but what are you going to do? Looking
forward to some Black Manta too. See how that.
Yeah, I think they said the Black Manta is going to be the villain of the Aquaman movie.
But even if he's worst case scenario, they're lining him up for number 2.
Yeah.
So it should be a good one. Really quick, can I throw a movie in there?
Yeah,
I think
I pretty much touched on everything.
I had the joy of showing somebody Blade Runner for the first time ever, and it was really cool. And did the what was it? The extended
Final Cut.
Final Cut, and it was every time I watch Blade Runner, I learn something new, and it's just what a great movie. If you have anybody. If you have an up and coming geek or nerd in your circle, get them Blade Runner and let them see
Final Cut.
Blade Runner. Wow, and I'm sure everybody who's listening to this has seen Blade Runner. If you haven't, by all means, drop what you're doing and go see Blade Runner.
What is wrong with you?
One of the absolute must see science fiction movies that you must have in your library and must see. And, of course, now Blade Runner 2 is coming out.
Blade Runner 2049 is the official title.
Yeah, and it's going to be, we'll see how it's going to be. We're crossing our fingers.
I can't remember who's directing it, but I know Ridley Scott's producing it, so it's good that they've at least got his voice in there, and it's not just going to be someone's interpretation of Blade Runner.
So hopefully it'll be as good as the first one was. It was a great storyline. Think about this. You've got the Philip K. Dick do Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. So you build off that, and you get with Ridley Scott, and you've got that kind of alien type esque shadowy cinematography, and the cinematography on top of that is just amazing. There's just bizarre cinematography going on in this movie. Then you throw in the actors
who are fantastic:
Harrison Ford,
Rutger Hauer,
and
what's her name?
Oh my God, we're both having mind blanks.
Yeah.
Daryl Hannah.
There it is.
And Sean Young.
Yep.
And Sean Young is just killer in this movie. And who else? Who's the detective? James Olmos.
James Olmos. Yeah, Edward James Olmos. Yep.
And there's just so many people.
It's a crazy, fantastic cast. It's a great director, great story, great cinematography,
great
music. Performances.
The music,
the soundtrack.
Incredible. The soundtrack. You could buy the soundtrack.
It's like somebody set a Dick Tracy movie in the future.
Yeah. And
it's very noirish.
That much together. I think the music was done. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Vangelis who did the music. I think. And I don't have it in front of me right now, but it's all those things coming together. You know you're going to get a great film, and you did, and it was one of the classics, one of the greatest films ever made.
The casting for the sequel is very interesting. Ryan Gosling is going to be the main character of this one. They have confirmed that Harrison Ford will be in it in a supporting role.
Hopefully he won't get stabbed with a lightsaber.
Yeah. All of a sudden Adam Driver comes out of nowhere. Hi, Dad!
You again!
But yeah, Harrison Ford will be in it. Dave Bautista is going to be in it, as they haven't announced who yet. They really haven't announced who anyone's playing. They've just been announcing who's cast. And Jared Leto, I think, is the most recent one to join the casting.
Right.
And I think it's shaping up to be a very interesting movie. And it's not like they're actually, I don't know if people realize this, Blade Runner does have sequels in terms of novels, which do carry on the story.
Yeah,
so it's not like they're going to build it from scratch, but I don't think you necessarily need to go the path of the novels. I think they diverge too much in the movie anyway to follow the books, really.
Yeah.
But I do think that with Ridley Scott's help and the fact that it's weird, it's like Star Wars. It's been 30 some odd years.
Yeah.
And Force Awakens came out, and everybody's got their fingers crossed, and then Force Awakens hits it out of the park.
Out of the park, yeah.
So hopefully Blade Runner can
do it again.
Yeah.
And it'll be, and Ford is Harrison Ford, and he's had a couple that he could have been better, but the majority of his movies are classics, all-time classics. And
I thought he was fantastic in Force Awakens.
He's back. That was the thing. You saw him in Force Awakens, like, oh my gosh, here we go again. He's
I was a little worried because I'm like, he's in it, but I'm like, I really hope, because I remember Indiana Jones, you could tell he wasn't that thrilled. There's a couple moments in that fourth movie where you could just tell he was phoning it in.
There wasn't a fourth movie. There was not a fourth movie. Let's just forget about that.
So when Force Awakens was, I'm like, don't phone it in. Yeah. Don't phone it. And then he came in and bam, he was Han Solo all over again.
Well, you knew that was going to happen. I was already hearing buzz when the trailers came out, and he was on the trailer, and people were going crazy about the trailers. And I was like, if the trailers are this hot with him, it's probably going to be good. And of course it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll never mention that other horrible movie that you...
What movie?
What movie? Really quick, I'm just going to move over here. Hopefully it's not making any noise online. One more quick little bit of movie news from me. I've been following this Rogue Warrior robot fighter starring Tracy Birdsall, and it's kind of cool. They got picked up by Sony. They're going to distribute the movie, and so it's kind of cool news.
That's
for
big
them.
News, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit bigger news for them. They're moving up a little higher, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, it's not going to have the budget by any means of a Star Wars level, but it's going to it looks like fun.
You don't always need a big budget. Some of the best movies I've ever seen have low budgets.
And again, we mentioned Cyborg, which was a low budget,
God, yeah,
fantastic.
Like $10,000?
And
paid Van Damme and like protein bars and
they were taking
stretchy pants.
They were taking metal cans back to get money for the movie, but boy,
it was great.
Movie. Yeah,
you can do a lot with minimal stuff.
Man, did they have a good movie?
Some of the Power Rangers fan film.
Yeah,
James Vanderbeek and Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah,
I think they made it on a $20,000 budget, and it was just like 15 minutes of the most mind-blowing. Yeah. Awesome stuff you've ever seen.
So we've got a lot of hope for Rogue Warrior. We think it's going to be fun, and there's robots, and there's shooting, and there's spaceships, and there's robots killing humans. It's like,
what else do you need?
Duh, and lots of fun. So we're looking forward to that. And let me see, what else have we got here? You got anything more?
I think I actually touched on everything.
Through a list. We are also looking. By the way, we're talking a lot of comics here. We do comic reviews just about every week, and I think if you check into the site, we usually have them out by the end of the week. We review a bunch of different comic books. So if you like comic reviews, we do have them. We do put the covers up, and we do have links, and how you can get them. Oh, one more fun thing I'm going to mention here, which I hope to do tomorrow. If you're in the mid-state New York area, we've got the Liverpool, or just the Run of the Dead, and it's raise some raise some money, have a lot of fun. It's going to be. I'm just going to move something here. Hopefully, it won't make noise online. It is the 5th annual Run of the Dead. Starts about 4 o'clock in the Syracuse Sports Park in Liverpool, New York, and it's people had a lot of fun being chased by zombies and running through this obstacle course. And there's mud, and then afterwards there's a big party and food and beer, and and it goes to support the Wilderness Search and Rescue Team of New York State. And it just looks like a lot of fun. You're being chased. And it's family friendly.
Yeah.
Kids, dress up silly and have a great time and run around outside. And what a great time and what a great thing to do. I'm hoping to get there. I accidentally booked 2 things at once. I'm hoping I will be there. And if you're there, I'll be handing out the Sci Clops vinyl stickers to everybody I can find.
Yeah.
So if you see me, if you see a guy with a handful of stickers, that's going to be me. And some quick news on the side, too, which has been very interesting here, which we've been looking at. There's been a lot of future news and a lot of news about, like, Elon Musk talking about his new solar panel project. He's got oh, dear, where we had something with he's going to put this big solar thing together. And that's right. We mentioned it. Hang on one second. There we go. Musk has got a big solar panel project, and the way it sounds like he's almost going to try to integrate it into people's homes. And the quote is that he wants to create a smoothly integrated and beautiful solar roof with battery product that just works, empowering the individual as their own utility, and then scale that throughout the world. Typical Elon Musk. One ordering experience, one installation, one service contract, one phone app. And it sounds to me like he might be on the edge of trying to bring solar into people's homes where you can use it to charge stuff and get them off the outlets plugged in the wall, which would be very cool.
One of these days, we're just going to find him assassinated in a hotel bathroom.
He's got to stop this.
Because some big corporation is going to go, get rid of this lunatic.
Elon Musk, if you
please, security, we need you, the world needs you.
Get the body doubles out there, because if you keep this up, you're going to piss somebody off here. And it's kind of cool news, because I love futuristic news. And if you're into sci-fi and if you're into this kind of thing, you're always looking at this kind of stuff because it's coming true. And people are like, why do I want to listen to sci-fi? Because sci-fi tells you what's going to happen.
Star Trek had the slidey doors before it happened.
Slidey doors. And, you've got the Dick Tracy watch. Everybody does that.
Yep.
And it just the things you're seeing. Some other things that are really cool you're starting to see here. You got drones. The drone thing is everywhere now. I mean, we covered
PlayStation VR just came out this week.
PlayStation VR, that's another thing we talk about. VR is that's right on the huge about to happen. There's a wave of things that are about to hit, and I think it's going to change society quite a bit. And if you want to comment on this, please do, because in a list I would say you've got drones, 3D printing, self-driving vehicles, VR, solar, and AI. And I'm using all. Like right now, I'm actually getting more into this. My little iPhone, I've got the Siri, and I've been using it more and more. And I know a lot of people complain about it, and I know there's some things wrong with it. But for instance, I was driving down the road the other day, and I needed to send a text message. Or it was a text message. I needed to tell somebody, hey, I'm on the way. And I had the phone next to me, and you can just say, I can't say it because my phone will turn on right now, but you can just call Siri without touching anything. Siri answers. You tell Siri, hey, I want to send this text message. Siri goes, who do you want to send it to? You dictate the text message, say send, bang, off it goes, and I never move my hands off the steering wheel or have to look over. And that's a great thing. And that's going to make, between that, self-driving vehicles, which I think you're going to see a lot of self-driving vehicles in the next 5-10 years. There's going to be an awful lot of them on the road. Just think of the transformation of your life and how that's related to sci-fi. And the solar stuff we were talking about here is a big deal, because if you can charge all these things using just little solar panels, I've been waiting for the longest time for a cheap solar charger that I can plug my phone into, and I plug it in the car as much as possible, but not have to go around looking for an outlet, and I can just stick the solar charger up there. And then you got the VR, and the VR is hot right now, and that's going to take things to a whole new level. Cool. And the 3D printing, which we had talked about, which you're seeing again in a lot of board games.
Getting used, board games. Yeah, D&D. You recommend. You can do a lot of stuff with that.
It's so cool, and you see people actually 3D printing. Somebody was 3D printing bone replacement stuff for people, which is wicked cool. Or the prosthesis that used to cost $50,000, $100,000, $150,000. Now you can knock those things out for about $5,000 or less, and you can actually have somebody use a 3D printed prosthesis that normally would have been an insurance nightmare and have to go and do all these charity fundraisers and stuff for. So I'm just really excited about that. I tend to be a big geek about the future, and when I see a big wave coming, like I think right now is happening, it's a great time to be alive. You're seeing all these things hit. And even today, we have an article on Sci Clops about private space stations going up. They're Bigelow and, oh goodness, the other company. If you do a search, it's on there today. Search the upper right-hand corner space station, and we're talking about some of the big private space companies now are getting the plans together to put private space stations up in orbit where you can actually kind of rent the time out on.
Yeah.
You need to go up there and okay, well you don't have to go bring a space station to do anything. We got one already set to go. So just bring your stuff up there, do your experiments or whatever it is you want to do, and then whatever. We'll send a space janitor up, clean it out, and then on to the next one. So anybody looking for space janitor jobs, there's going to be some opening pretty soon, but. Anyway, a little rant about the future. I love the future. Please let us know if you think that any of that stuff is kind of cool. We'd love to hear about it because I think it's going to be the next wave. Imagine where we'll be in a decade with all those things just being mentioned. I got a little music here just for fun. I was listening to a favorite podcast of mine. It's a little off to the side, really no sci-fi, fantasy, or horror. It's called the Jocko Podcast, Jocko. And Jocko Podcast is brought to you by Jocko Willink, who is a Navy SEAL, and he is he wrote a book with Leif Babin. It's Jocko, Jocko Willink, Willink, and Leif Babin is Leifbabin. And the book was Extreme Ownership: How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. And I love that stuff. It's applied. He takes a lot of the things they went through in the wars with the Iraq and some of the Afghanistan, some of the stuff he talks about, and applies it to business. And he actually is a big consultant and goes to businesses and says, hey, here's how to improve your performance, whatever. And he also grew up in hardcore. He liked hardcore when he was a kid. Wait till you see this guy, too. You got to see Jocko Willink. He's Tim Ferriss, I think, described him, if I can remember the quote, like the scariest Navy SEAL you've ever seen. But his podcast is excellent. He's got about 40 some odd podcasts now, and just fantastic. If you want to look up Jocko Willink, we'll have the link. I put one of the songs up he mentioned, the fantasy tune of the day. I try to put a song up at least every couple days or so, and it was by a band called The Sword, and the song is Iron Swan, and the album is Age of Winters, and it's pretty cool. Somebody liked Black Sabbath.
Yeah, ripped off of
it's right out of Black Sabbath.
Novels.
Yeah, and we'll have the you can see if you do a search on the Sci Clops site, and that upper right hand corner, The Sword album cover is there. The album, and it's so 70s and it's so cool. And when you listen to it, you're like, if you like Black Sabbath, you'll like these guys. It's just fun. It's heavy and it's metal and it's great to work out to. So we just threw a little music up there for you just for fun. And so we try to bring a whole bunch of different topics. We got the movies, we got the show, we got the con, we got the anything else you can think of for so much news hitting.
Yeah, that's
so
all
much
I got
exciting
for right
stuff.
now.
And we even covered we even got that video game. We'll be doing a board game next week. Another one. I'm opening up one. Just got a new game. I'm not going to mention it yet. I'll play it a little bit and then we'll see how it goes. I'll take some photos and put it up. So that's about it. Looks like we wrapped up a pretty good week of news, and it's only going to get better because we're going into Christmas season. What's the two big words? Black Friday.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God. Goodbye, wallet. Goodbye. It's going to be. Imagine the deals.
Hello, overtime.
Yeah, hello, overtime. So anyway, if you go to the site, please take a look at the Sci Clops site. We are on all social media. We're SciClops.com. That's the website. If you're there, please support us. Very easy way to support us. Click on the Amazon links or any of the product link we put up. If you buy your stuff, if you go to Amazon, you buy it through our link. It gives us a couple pennies and it helps the site. And it's free. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to fill anything out or anything like that. It takes care of itself, and it helps us get a little bit of money to keep the podcast going and feed the intern, who we haven't seen in ever. And
Steve.
and we're also on Instagram as Sci Clops, and Twitter is Sci_Clops, but just do a search. You'll see we've got the links on the main page of the website. Pinterest and Facebook, and of course we've got the podcast. Please like, share, listen, subscribe, and we really love to do more. We'll keep expanding and doing as much news as we can. We'll try to stay try to stay as exciting and relevant as we always do.
I mean, come on, we're the best.
Yeah, duh. So anyway, we're going to let you go, and we'll see you very soon with podcast number 6. In the meantime, keep the geek. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.